All right, something picking up about Comey right now, and it's possible. What if he was part of the cover up of John's death? What if that's what he was doing in Baltimore? Again, people say and I've noticed, God places me places to gather information. So that could be part of it, as why Comey is the character that he is. Right. Let me shoot, this thing's all broken. They caused a lamp to fall off the refrigerator. So you have to learn to speak like that. That's what they're doing. They're cursing you, and then stuff like that happens. And when you don't say what the truth of it, then the system doesn't hold them accountable. So I don't know. I don't know if that's information's actually available to any of us at this point of the thing. But that would make sense that he covered that up for, there were CIA people, all sorts of people. The whole deep state thing was involved. It was part of the takeover, part of the coup. The murder of Jonathan Luna, was at least a psychological murder, was part of the coup to take over the United States via spycraft. And then, of course, nowadays we call it the deep state. And there were others along the way. Director Dudley, the Marshal Service. It's a shame that Trump can't give rebate checks. You might want to look at it. I mean, I don't know what the truth of the economy is, but you might want to give out some sort of stimulus check. What they're doing is they're killing. They could be, because I don't know what's actually going on. The world's so confused right now, right? As far as that goes, the economy. And again, even if we had all the real data, it's still a little, would be a little confusing because a lot of things are going on. If we're converting the economy from criminal economy to lawful economy, right, then it's going to have different things going on. But essentially, I know they're psyops, and their psyop could be they could have gotten you to somehow do that. What do they call that? The golden age thing. Of course, now you're not going to give anybody a stimulus check because it's the golden age, right? So you see how they do that with a psyop? You actually have to almost bury your pride to get past what they're doing because they count that in, a certain level of ego. Right? And the more ego you have, the easier it is for them to psyop you. Well, the fact is, if you need to give a stimulus check, then you need to give it. Call it paying for votes or whatever. I don't know. Again, because I can't tell the truth from here. They really screwed my life up too. Always do. It's criminal, but again, cops are criminal these days. There are some that aren't, but again, that's getting to the point of few and far between, to tell you the truth. And they're just playing a game with criminal investigation. Whether it benefits the criminal enterprise versus actually getting rid of it. Now, of course, Trump's able to show that he's actually doing it, but I didn't say Trump. I said, cops in general. And again, when FBI comes in, they're going to be a little cautious, but they'll still try to recruit them in any way they can. They're just people that aren't supposed to be out of prison because of that. I mean, you see the fraud everywhere. Well, cops are the same way. There's a ton of cops that are fraudulent, been fraudulent. But they're part of the deep state, so they never get, they arrest one that's outside the deep state, and the other 15 that are in the deep state continue on. In fact, there are people that support Trump that are coming against Trump right now, secretly, covertly, because he's trying to take out the deep state. They don't allow it. Well, because they believe there's just a Republican deep state and a Democrat deep state, and that Trump's part of the Republican deep state. And at some points, his people were, and he ended up being part of it. Whether he is now or not, I can't tell 100%, but I don't believe he is, because he's doing all that other stuff, taking out Iran. The deep state would never totally take out Iran. Yeah, they got him this morning. They got Chuck Norris. He's off the planet. Or he could be here walking around. I don't know. Yeah, it was something hitting this morning. There's no doubt. I felt it all morning. They're devils, man. All right, so I need to get some onion cut up here. Do some cooking. Hey, good. Look at what you got, Cookie. So yeah, chemo was coming up at Comey. Is there any chance you believe that Comey was part of the cover-up of John's death? I mean, he did show up. Like, oh, I guess, yeah. Pennsylvania State Police didn't even know that, right? Didn't know that Comey showed up and started inquiring. Well, I get this buzz. Go down to the, in my mind, you have to go talk to Frank about. I don't even remember what it was. Something about a case we were doing. I was doing with the U.S. Attorney's Office and the FBI. And when I get down there, I don't remember who was standing there. They were like, they were saying something about Frank. Oh, who was? I don't remember who it was. Somebody was standing at the entrance when I went into the U.S. Attorney's Office. And they said that, he was meeting with the Deputy Attorney General. I was hoping to get in before he got there. That's what it was. I think I knew he was coming or something like that. I didn't know who it was. I just said the DAG was here at the courthouse. And I stepped in. I'm like, I could see him down the hall going into his office. I'm like, yeah. I'm not going to get somewhere today. It was like the end of the day. Like, I think it was like 4 o'clock or something. I was like, Comey getting in the way. Well, based upon that little scam that Comey and Mueller had going, I don't know. I mean, Christie may have been wrong on certain fronts, but not all the fronts that they're presenting. Right? And again, in government, it happens all the time. Right? If there's no mens rea, then there's no mens rea. Right. And again, she's not going to throw people under the bus, but she was relying on underlings and stuff like that. Right. And again, it happens in government. Again, they'll do the same thing to Mark Wayne Mullen if they can. So I'll make fun of Rand. Rand, you couldn't stop him. Oh shoot, I was supposed to put that in my Ninja. I didn't put up my Ninja. So I got bigger chunks of onion. Okay. Now I got to get my serrano peppers and my regular peppers. No, they're still doing it. They're still stalking me. They just hit me. I tried to buy a computer just now, and they just hit me in the head. I mean, it wasn't the reason why I didn't buy it. I'll go on there and look at it and look to see if there's anything else. But again, they're stalking me, no doubt. It's weird. I couldn't figure out what it was, and I just figured it out. John wanted me to marry his wife. I couldn't figure out what it was all those years. I could see his wife, and I'm like, why am I seeing his wife? I just saw John's spirit in it. Oh, because he's not with her. Right. No, I didn't know she existed back then, but like, shortly thereafter. Well, when people know there's reality of me, that's kind of where they are. Actually, that's why they stopped me from being with a woman, because she'll want to marry me. It won't take long. I'm a great husband, quote unquote, literally and figuratively. They ruined my wife. I fixed her. I fixed her in life to a certain degree, and then they ruined her. But they were cursing us the whole time, so there's a lot to that. Right? I mean, when you're asleep, you don't know anything, you know. Well, to not be dirty, cops have to not be dirty. And you're not being dirty for some sort of altruistic reason. Again, I don't know how many times I have to tell y'all the truth, get y'all to change. So Iran, we can agree, has made a mess of everything. Again, they're devils, man. So again, you're being hit with spells. So Islamic people are being hit with spells. Even the anti-Islamic people are created. Right? So like I said, Israel's not the only one that's creating the enemy because they hate something. Right? And Israel means those that are doing it. It's not everybody. Right? I got to use the larger receptacle or container for the Ninja. I have like a pitcher size one. Probably work better for the, because the little one, when you overfill it, and it's easy to do, it doesn't cut the whole thing. And then if you try to cut the whole thing, it cuts it too thin or too small. Brainwash my kids and everything. I caught them. What they'll do is they'll bring kids around my kids to harass my kids when I'm around. And then when I'm not around, they wouldn't harass my kids. My kids were half Asian. So they would make fun of my kids for being half Asian when I was around them. So that starts your kid's mind thinking, when dad's around, it's bad. Right? Right? That's that deep what they did. Right? Did the same thing to probably Jonathan Lew to a certain degree, but he wasn't fully isolated yet. Right? So they probably sent Comey in to see what was going on, launch the cover up. I don't think Frank would cover. They wouldn't trust Frank to do it. At least I don't think. I think they try to keep him out of it. But maybe he was a deep state realm. Assistant U.S. attorney. He was a nice guy. I don't think they would trust him to do anything corrupt. Don't call me, obviously. No, it's still there. I went on Amazon. Cooking like a Southwest Mexican rice dish. Yeah, if I had a Latino woman, she'd be happy. I make some of the greatest vegetarian rice dish with like imitation chorizo, vegetarian chorizo. Make some of the greatest rice dishes. I'm sure they're all corrupt. Anybody that's coming at me is corrupt, there's no doubt. The only question is how corrupt. That's the only question. So yeah, you're going to get a lot of emotion off of the jihadists. So in Australia, like he said, and again, like I said, there are Islamic people that support him. So in reality, the people, you could call them protesters if you like, but they're jihadist type people, and they're mad because we're destroying their, jihadist fantasies. Right? Yeah, it involves people dying that they know, but I mean, if you're going to become a terrorist or support terrorism, of course your people are going to die at some point. It's not a very, there's not a lot of longevity in that. Except for some, like the big leaders that hide and send the little girls with bombs in Afghanistan and other places. Yeah, that was like a Benghazi. The whole thing, how ISIS took over Afghanistan, or not Afghanistan, over Iraq, was a Benghazi. Right. Now the what do they call them? The squad is a bust. There is no new progressive Democratic Party that's going to be honest. So the whole thing about Comey came up based upon somebody probably wanting me to come back online to see if I'd yell and scream, right? Because they just did some shit to me. Right. They know how the psychology works. Again, I've tested them for years. Yeah, Peter Thiel still comes up as somebody they were trying to radicalize me against. They'll tell you because they want to protect Peter Thiel. What they want to do is go to Peter Thiel's people and say, hey, pay us this amount of money and we'll protect you from this guy. Right. But they're also the radicalizers. The same people that put Trump in with Epstein are saying we can protect you from that. Right. But yet they're still doing it, trying to put his people and other people into things. It's a big spy scam. Yeah, they may have even some sexualized Harvey Weinstein for all we know, right? And then created that we'll protect you from it, right? But so again, all the things that they will, it doesn't always work to their benefit. So again, that's one of the scams. There's a radicalization business, but that same people that radicalize are the same people that are going to save you from the people they radicalize. Right. Just pay them a little something. Something. Now I watched them take. Now Santa Fe is a small city, but I watched them come in and take over Santa Fe. I didn't say much. I said a little bit, right? But they utterly overwhelmed and took over that city. Right? And of course, narcos and shit were paying them. rice cooker agrees with it. Not rice cooker, but it is a rice cooker, but it's a pressure cooker. Cooking the basmati. I don't care what you eat, basmati is probably the best rice to use. Don't feel constrained by, oh, but I'm Spanish. It's looking great. Yeah, they even took garlic out of my diet. This is what they do all day. They will this stuff, but also some of it is a psyop, creating a negative factor around something, hoping to cause an aversion. That's what they're doing to the Guthries, hoping that they won't push for the investigation. So you have to actually look for corruption in law enforcement with that. Because generally the way it goes is, well, we can't because, the family is this, that, the other thing. So, oh, we'll take care of the family. Right. So then they'll start harassing the family around the investigative process and around the thought of investigation. No, there's no doubt the Guthries are being hit by the deep state. I could tell by the husband when he showed up in town. I don't know if he knows anything. The thing says he knows. Oh, he knows. He knows. Thank you, well, that's the thing. I understood that, part of what the issue was with me in the Marshal Service is the other deputies say we can't do that around him. So when somebody comes in and wanting to bribe them, whoever it was, again, we have ideas on who they are. Right? They would say, well, we can't because he's around. He might tell on us, which, few and far between. I didn't know anything. Right? The only thing is when John got killed and I was over at the gym and I was talking to somebody on the gym about legal supplementation that I could take him to GNC, right? And show him what I use. Somebody repeated the last words on the phone that he said into my Nextel, and I had to report that. Right. I don't know what that is. I don't know who that is. Right. That's the only time I ever had to do something like that. Well, you're not supposed to tell me. I'm not going to say anything on that phone. It's going to get me in trouble. So you're not supposed to do that. I mean, not supposed to do it anyway, because that would get you in trouble. Right. Why bring up John's death? Well, it came up. They're still killing me because I know what happened to John. Everything I tell you they did to me, they did to John. I mean, at whatever level they did, I don't know if it is much as what they did to me. So of course John would come up, but it came up with Comey because I said something about Comey. Yeah, Comey was trying to find out what was going on in the investigation. He visited Baltimore as Deputy Attorney General. Well, they murder. They don't care. As long as that money comes away, as long as they're protected from all the crimes they committed, so they won't go to jail and all that, they don't care. Again, they try to call it politics, but it's not even close. Stuff is delicious. It's like Spanish rice. But I mean, really, really jacked. Nah, if they let me get married, I'd had a quiet life with a wife, and then not attack me. I had a quiet life with a wife. Don't listen to them, or it would have been this, that, or the other thing. Right? We'd have been members of some religious institution, and that would have been it. It's just standard what they do to kill people. They're the strangest characters in the world. If people would talk, they'd tell you stories. Right? None of it makes any sense. But like, because they isolate you, you never know what the perception is. So I had this guy that when I was with the Harry Krishnas and we were doing the Harry Krishnas, he'd say, "Well, like, oh, no good deed go unpunished." He didn't say that, but he'd say, "Well, they're probably going to say this about you, right? Like it's ludicrous." Right? That's because the deep state was turning. They were there. The plants for the government weren't doing what they were supposed to. They were just partying, having a great life, and running me into the ground. Right? And on top of that, trying to sexualize them. The easiest way to sexualize somebody is to not allow them to get married. Again, the scriptures tell you that too. So again, they're actually in violation of scripture. That's also why they take over the religion, so people won't say the things that I say, which we would call the truth. Well, Peter Thiel could be somebody approved by the CIA to be in religion, to alter religion, but that doesn't mean that he's part of the larger thing. Right. Again, the larger thing is telling Peter Thiel that you need us. Right. So you go pitting one side against the other and killing the middle, and we're all in the middle. We're all the monkey in the middle. Right. That's pretty much what the deep state does. Delicious. They may be forced a Bambino out early, or he may be getting it. A lot of times people will resign when they're under investigation. So, he has a 30-year career. I'm sure he's got a nice retirement. Right. I guarantee if that U.S. attorney is an Orthodox Jew, he said stuff about Goyim. Right. Around our Jews. My buddy wasn't Orthodox, but she grew up, in that area at that time. Voices said Christ. There's a replacement theory going on, but it's not necessarily political, although part of it is political. Deep state, bringing people in to allow deep state. Cash is at Quantico. Wasting time there, Cash. Get on some cases. You could work from there, I'm sure. Hey, look, the NASDAQ dude. Is he, what's going on there? Who is that guy?
paid contact. I don't know who that is. Lyman Health. No, he's shooting the terrorist thing, terrorist side.
I mean, it could also mean we're number one, but you got to find out who it is. Could be sending messages to Tehran and shit. See, they took all their people out of business. Like, I'd be a CEO somewhere. Okay? That's how it works. And replaced it by with some foreigner saying we don't have Americans that can do this. Foreign spies. I told you foreign spies ran the whole thing. Yeah, because you're flipping all the triggers, so they could be coming out of the woodwork, trying to encourage one another through it. That's going on. If Google doesn't shut it down. See the risk? They all developed into private spycraft entities. Yeah, I'm gonna bring the image up. What happened to my Google search? No. Yeah, all jihadists are starting to panic, so they're probably going to reveal themselves. It knows what it is. No, who's the man in the middle? Google won't allow it. I'll try it again. Let me look on LinkedIn. Time. Numbers.
Definitely a libtard.
Have the libs adopted that?
Mhm.
You know, it seems a lot of
Libs are coming up with that number one finger thing. You know, they are aligning themselves with Iran. Thank you. You know, we'll take a look. I don't know. His name's Cal. He's not Chinese, but he could be. What do they call them? People.
Chinese, ethnic, Islamic. You know why they're blocking me from a computer? Because I'm getting one that can do AI stuff. And they're just like, oh shit, can't let him near that.
See, it didn't. I've been here since 1950. Senator Hillary Clinton. I advised her. So. No, unofficially. You still got to look at it just to make sure the libs aren't trying to inspire Tehran and terrorists. Right? Like this guy over here just thumbs up. We accept him because we're white supremacists. That's not really a reason. I've got to make sure.
Yeah, it's the same thing as investigating churches. It's neutral.
Right. Well, if you're radicalized, you're radicalized. If you're aligned with Tehran, you could be a terrorist, a spy. Right. There are no options, all of it. We have freedom of speech, but, you know. Looks like he's Christian. Still gotta check them out. Or them out. All right. People that have been charged with material support have freedom of speech. But their freedom of speech got them in trouble. Right. Better not be a Muslim the next time there, Mr. Cow. Just kidding. But again, they could be shooting signs to. Well, because they take the thing, what was it, Free Palestine, and then they take it to support Tehran. It's obviously a spy effort. Right. Like why do Palestinians need to be free? Palestinians need to be freed, and people that are oppressed in Iran not need to be freed. You see, because somebody's manipulating it. Right. It's not the rightful leaders. The Shah is. Right. Or a sultan. We'd accept a sultan. Look, I'm a king of Israel. I mean, not a good job anymore, but it's degraded since David was and Solomon was king. Somehow I'm a star. I don't know how that happened. So this link to this finance news article, Yahoo Finance, about Diddy is embedded in my Google. I can't get the link out. It keeps popping up. A corrupt one. NATO was corrupt. They've been taking money from Iran for so long. They took that money Obama gave them and they bribed everybody. Probably already doing it. Right. The only way out of this is to end the war, and the only way to end the war is to take them out. Not going back to other bullshit. Where did that come from? Way off. Long TSA lines. Thank a Democrat. Yeah, that's a big deal. that's infiltration from Mexico. They bless the money, the drug money. So anybody that infiltrates our country and starts manufacturing meth, you know they're sending money back to Mexico. Right. Again, that's what you should look for also. Let's do more of that. Tying all of it to Mexico and the money being returned to Mexico, not really helping the United States, even if it was considered some sort of manufacturing sector benefit. That's the way they are. To them, it's just business. It's your people that are addicted. I can't believe she said that. What a piece of shit. President of Mexico. Gold Colombian theory. We're just businessmen. Right. There are people that are using the product. What, you show up at Trump? You don't show up at Trump land? Was that an old thing?
That is unconstitutional. That was never intended. Finding the people's faith in the legal system, it needs to stop. I think the fundamental moral flaw of the left is empathy for the criminals and not empathy for the victims.
That's because they're getting paid, Elon. That's where their vote block comes from. The immigrant communities are run by criminals. Eventually, they get elected to office, but they start as just basic criminals. Should I say Elon? Should I use his name? Should I bless him by saying his name? Let's see if this is going to work. Elon, comma. It stopped. You should be able to put a timer on that when the microphone stops. Look at the delay. Maybe you can. I'll look it up later. The immigrant communities are run by crime bosses, period. That is where the left gets their vote and gets their bribe money. And Dem communities. So it's not just the immigrants. It is not at all based in altruism. They also get, there's actually another part to that. Something reminded me, I think it's not shown. The crime bosses also run a protection racket for the Dem corruption. Let's see if we get a picture of Elon smoking marijuana. Or a video. Yeah. Oh, they put the Nazi one up there first. Elon the Nazi. It's on Facebook. Elon Nazi's the first GIF. Okay, here's the cannabis Elon. Should get his attention if he looks. If his people don't block, like the underlings at X could be blocking Elon from like things they don't want him to see. You have to check on them. Send the security people down. Well, H1Bers, man, they gotta be like raging at you inside at least. Well, actually, that's not the one I wanted. I wanted to inhale. We're gonna redo this. That's a stupid one. Look, they're even scumbagging your gifts. They should have showed you just going, oh. A big inhale. I bet your people are corrupt, hiding things from you. Because they're H1Bers. And you're pro-Trump and anti-immigrant. Well, I guess not really. See what I can find here. Okay, do the one where you're standing. Where's your one with your girlfriend in the sports car? That'd be a good one. Your first sports car or whatever it was. And make it look like somebody like Copernic. There's some pretty nasty gifts over here. Somebody grabbing your butt in a cartoon world, a Christmas cartoon world. A man. I don't know what it's supposed to be. We'll do this. This is weird. I guess it's not Facebook. I guess it's X. The gift selection is dissing you. Wait, I thought it was Facebook all of a sudden. All right, I think that's it for now. Well, with some good food. I gotta take a nap. All right, stay peaceful. Praise God. It must be nice. I work harder than anybody in the world. I work harder than Trump and longer than Trump did. Trump just started working hard in his older years, probably because I bug him in the mind. Well, stay peaceful. Praise God in all that you do. Praise God.